Welcome to HBCUbiz on Fire, where we have conversations. That's right, conversations with entrepreneurs, pathfinders, and innovators from that HBCU experience. Hey, if you just tuning in for the first time, welcome, because you're guaranteed to learn something and experience something totally different. Today, my guest is Miss Lethia Owens, and she's a lady from down in South Georgia, y'all, in Albany State. As we talk about HBCU land, gorgeous place right there on the river, and had a chance to visit that campus years ago. Hey, welcome, Lethia. How you doing today?
I am blessed and highly favored. Excited to be here representing the Albany State University.
Okay, I'm sorry, the Albany State. I got to get all these new names. Because when I looked it up, it didn't say that, but you're not the first alumnus alumni that have shared that with me. So I had to get all this correct. As we talk about that, and we want to jump right into it because our goal is hopefully through your learning more about your experience, individuals will see some things in themselves that will help themselves move to and grow to their next level. So let's talk about Albany State. Take us back to that first day, that young lady coming on campus at Albany State. What were your thoughts? Take us back there.
I mean, I was in awe, Howard, because I wasn't supposed to go to college. Like, I had no plans to go to college. I was going to be a cosmetologist. And my boyfriend at the time in high school kept saying, hey, you need to study for the SAT. And I'm like, I'm not taking the SAT. I'm not going to college. And eventually I asked my mom and dad to pay for the SAT. My mom said, I don't have any money for an STD test. And I said, no, it's not an STD test, Mom. It's an SAT test. So my boyfriend paid for the SAT. I took it. I, wasn't going to college. So I just circled Harvard, Yale, all these big fancy schools. And I highlighted Albany State, right? And 6 weeks later, I get called into the principal's office. Mr. Sibley, who was the recruiter at the time, basically said, hey, Lethia, I have a near perfect SAT score, but no college application. What gives? And I was like, what? And he says, what if we give you a full ride? Because I was like, I'm not going to college. That's why you don't have an application. He said, but what if we give you a full ride? And I said, I'm sorry, sir. I don't know you. I'm not getting in the car going with you anywhere. He was just too through, right? And so eventually they offered me a full ride scholarship. I became a golden ambassador and went on to Albany State. So when I went through my student orientation, I was like, if you could imagine what it would be like to be a country, from the country, and then you get dropped off in the middle of Times Square, right? Just imagine that juxtaposition. I was kind of like, wow. I couldn't believe they were paying me, first of all, to come and have this experience. Like, what? So I was just eyes wide open, full of excitement. I had experienced a reconnection with hope that I had almost started to kind of slip away, and just really felt really inspired by the instructors, the seeing Black people doing their thing with power and confidence was just. I didn't see that because my neighborhood, I didn't see a lot of that. So it was really awesome.
Share that how your HBCU, the Albany State, actually took that ember that was almost out, possibly, that ember of hope, that ember of I can do more, and really turn it into a blazing fire.
It's very similar to like the Dr. Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream speech, right? When he gives his speech, he talks about what is and what could be. What is and what could be. And as he's, really offering that juxtaposition of where you are and where you could be, they did such an amazing job of painting a picture of my potential future that my eyes were just like on fire. I was so full of hope and ambition and aspiration. And they convinced me, Howard, that I could get an education that was equivalent to a Harvard or Vanderbilt. Because what they taught me during that student orientation is what you get out of this experience is what you put into this experience. And when you leave Albany State, you will be qualified. If you put in what you need to put in, you will be qualified to compete with the best of them. And I mean, so many people don't believe that about Black colleges. Some people don't want their kids to go to a historical Black college, but Albany State, they poured into me that when you graduate, you're going to be among the best of the best in the country in computer science. And I believed them. So when I graduated, guess what? I was interviewing in New York with Goldman & Sachs with people who were at the top of their class from MIT and other, prestigious universities. And I carried my weight because I believed what they told me during my student orientation.
I want to dive deeper to that because I went to the Southern University. So, but one of the things I can remember, I interviewed with a Fortune 500 company, won't name the company. And the guy actually asked me this. He said, do you feel as qualified? I mean, this is in the early 90s, as if you had moved to LSU. And so I had to say, well, actually, we have a lot of students that transfer from LSU. I'm probably more qualified than the engineer from LSU. He said, why is that? I said, well, a lot of times we have to fix our equipment to do the experiment. Our professor, just because the equipment's not working and we don't have a lab tech, he make us fix the equipment and then still do the experiment. So you're getting a technician and an engineer when you hire me.
I love it. I love it.
So you just look at it, but think about that one story that you truly embraced, that concept of, I got to pour more into this experience.
So here's an example. My junior year, I'm doing everything that I know to do to create or to get the best experience that I can out of my Albany State years. And it became really evident when I started applying for internships that I was at a slight disadvantage. And it was less about being from Albany State and more about me being, having a family. I already had kids, I had a husband by my junior year in college. And we were dirt poor. So like being able to just gallivant across the country and go to another state and intern with a company wasn't really as easy for someone like me as it would have been for someone else. But because of what they taught me and what they said during that student orientation, Dr. Grant gave a speech and he said, if not you, then who? If not now, then when? I was like all on fire. I was like, yeah, right. So when I realized that I needed an internship in order to compete when I graduated, but that a traditional internship probably wasn't in the cards for me, I just went back to that speech that Mr. Sibley gave. Not Mr. Sibley, I'm sorry, Dr. Grant gave during student orientation. And I said, you know what? I'm going to create my own company. And I'm going to hire my colleagues, and we're going to go out into our community and find companies that need software and websites. And we're going to, do 5 over the next year. We're going to try to get 5 clients at, a greatly reduced rate, so cheap that they can't say no. And on project 1, I may be the project manager. On project 2, I may fill the role of systems analyst. On project 3, I may be the developer. On project 4, I may be the database designer. So that way, at the end of that year, the people that I hired all got experience in multiple disciplines within our area of expertise and training. And we had real companies that we could say we had worked with, right? So when I got ready to interview, I had real world experience, and other people are talking about their internship. Yeah, the companies may have been a larger company, but I was able to go in and say, I created my own company. I found my own clients. We built this software for them, right? And that was possible because I reconnected with the hope of my potential future that Albany State poured into me during my student orientation.
You say that, and I often challenge students this, and I can remember, and I want you to give some advice to a current student. That's a communication student saying, well, man, I can't get an intern. I said, well, create your own TV show. You guys got all the equipment. You want to be a sportscaster, do intramural sports. Hey, you got a reel then. But talk about how students can do that in today's world, because that, to me, gives them so many great opportunities to possibly create a business, number one, but two, to get the experience.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think back to our generation, I mean, we created movements and we didn't even have texting and cell phones,
Exactly.
right? So it's
Snail mail was the best we had. Our party lines on a cell phone.
Absolutely. If there's a student
on a house
listening,
phone.
right. If there's a student listening today, my encouragement would be to totally leverage technology and the online world to build a platform, make your own platform, make your own way, and leverage technology and social media and the opportunity that you have to get yourself out in front of people. You could have an idea, you could have even just a way about how you do what you do, and you could end up doing, creating videos that an executive at a company could perhaps potentially stumble across, that falls in love with you. And the next thing you know, I have a niece who ended up being her internship was with the president of Twitter. Right? So because she was putting herself out there so powerfully that she ended up landing this almost pinch me, I can't believe it internship.
Well, no, it went further than that, because I spoke with her and she's actually working with Twitter now.
Yes. Yeah.
Reporting to a senior executive, working remotely. I mean, when she shared that, she was like, I'm tired of this city, so I wanted to move to this city. Got it approved because of COVID, which was a great pivot for her. Living where she wants, working for a dream company, and just crushing it from what I can understand.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So it's important for students today to just leverage all of the tools and resources that are available to them and become a master student of success. What I mean by that is become a master at what people who are successful, whatever they do or have done to reach that level of success, study their journey, study their habits, study their values, and become a master student of success. I remember when I decided to become a personal branding strategist, I bought every book that had ever been published with the words personal branding in the title. I bought a book called Time Tactics of Very Successful People by Eugene Grissman. And it was interviews with some people we know, like Oprah Winfrey and Mary Kay Ash, and people that we've never heard of who are super wealthy and super successful. And it was just basically about how do they manage their day, manage their life? How do they get it all done? And so I wanted to know, how did Mary Kay Ash, have a family and, do the things that she wanted to do? How did Oprah, start a network and, have a TV show? So I wanted to know, what did they do? How did they do it? And so I studied success and became a master student of success. And when you do that, you'd be surprised how the wisdom that wells up inside of you will begin to give you creative ideas about your future, your potential, and what's possible for you.
You said something, and I don't know who first said it, so I can't give proper credit, but success leaves clues, and that's just the bottom line. And so you shouldn't live your life clueless because you have that opportunity. So as we get ready to go to a break here briefly, and some of our great sponsors and partners, we're going to come back and really just talk about how the Albany State prepared Lethia to go and grow forward, and then just talk about how she's evolved into this international, I did say international, branding strategist, and just working with a lot of great companies and entities. And so stay tuned. We'll be right back here inside of HBCUbiz on Fire. Hey, welcome back to HBCUbiz on Fire, where we have conversations. That's right, conversations with entrepreneurs, innovators, and pathfinders. And see, my guest today, she checks all three boxes, okay? Boom, 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 boom. All three check. We were talking about her journey at the Albany State. But, Lethia, I want to go after that, because what our HBCUs did or does still do, and did for me, I know the Southern University did, it prepared me to get out the nest. And so now, as you left the Albany State, talk about how you have drawn on those experiences to compete and excel inside of corporate first and then into your own business?
Absolutely. Well, Howard, I've had the fortunate opportunity to attend several universities as I've continued my education, working on my master's and my doctorate. And I have to say that there's a very distinct difference between my HBCU experience and my non-HBCU experience. My instructors were like my aunts and uncles. Like my instructors got all up in my business. Like they didn't, there was no separation of personal and student life. You know, you were under their care.
Yeah.
And they made it known if they saw you do something that they felt was going to be detrimental to your future, your career, or even your health and wellness. Because, you know, sometimes we are just stupid, you know, like we just do stupid stuff, and then don't fall in love, because love can make you stupid and you're making dumb decisions, you know. I remember I was going to drop out.
Exponentially stupid, as I heard one person say, you know, when you're
Right.
already stupid and then you're stupidly in love, you're exponentially stupid.
I was at one point where I was ready to give up my scholarship, and, you know, because I needed to help provide for our family, you know, and,
Right.
and my husband was like, absolutely not. Like, you will not quit school. You know, I will figure out a way. So he got 2 more jobs just so I could, you know, stay in school, but I was willing to do whatever I needed to do. But my teachers were like, you know, they were part of my family.
And by the way, shout out Lethia is still with that great man. So that's her boo thing, her best
That's
friend.
right, my handsome hunk of chocolate.
So no, hey,
Yeah,
shout out
29
to
years this year. Yep, 29 years. And so my instructors were my family. Like, they babysat when I was invited to go to Atlanta and go through an Amnesty International special program, when I had an opportunity to go to New York to compete in a College Bowl challenge. My instructors were the ones who babysat for me and made sure my kids were taken care of and that everything was okay at my home, right? So there was a level of care that I've never experienced anywhere else I've gone to school. And I attribute that to the close-knit family culture of an HBCU. I really felt like it was a village raising, you know, preparing me to go out into this big, you know, big world. And it was such a blessing.
Well, but I want you to take it a little deeper, because when you got out in this big world, into this big ocean, how did you draw up on that? Because see, sometimes people don't understand the importance of that. And if you would just share how you drew up on that experience as well as that network.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I had the fortunate opportunity to do was to pledge Delta Sigma Theta while I was at Albany State, and became the president.
Shout out to the ladies of DST.
That's right. That's right. And I fortunately became the president of our chapter and had an amazing opportunity to gain some real world leadership experience. And also, that's when the world for me changed forever. And I learned that my life is not about me. Like, I wasn't created for me. I was created to be of service to other people. And so I started measuring things differently because of my experience with Delta Sigma Theta and my experience at Albany State. But I'll never forget, during the interviewing process, here I am at these college fairs and going, you know, to Atlanta and traveling to other cities to try to, you know, put my best foot forward. And the welcome that I got from other HBCU alums and from Deltas who were in HR and recruiting, like, they didn't get me I didn't get the job because of them, or I didn't get the opportunity to interview because of them, but I felt very guided. And they were like, okay, so here's, you need to know this, and remember this, and this is how we do things, and this is really important. And so I felt like there was a higher level of ownership that they took around preparing me to be my best as I stepped into some of these interviews. And I did not, like, that blew me away. I don't think I was prepared for that level of support post, you know, graduation. When I was looking for it, I wasn't prepared for that level of support. And I had people bending over backwards, you know, to help me and to help make sure I was prepared for the opportunity once it was afforded to me.
I think that is one of the key things. And I said, we're all family. And I always say the people that went to the Southern University, those are my brothers and sisters. The rest of y'all are my cousins. And, and sometimes we love our cousins more than we love our brothers and sisters because we're just a little closer sometimes in different ways. But let's talk about how you've evolved into an entrepreneur and how you still draw upon those experiences. You went into corporate world, but then you had someone to push you out of the nest of corporate, and that's a transition in itself, guys. And we go, guys, we could talk all day about that part.
Amen.
But
Amen.
but share a little bit about your journey, because I want people to understand how you've grown as a branding expert. Because that's the key thing of being an expert in an area.
Absolutely. I mean, when I was in college, I took my very first of all, we were so poor, we couldn't even afford to pay attention in my household. And so the scholarship
to get attention on credit.
Right. My scholarship actually came back to me as a full refund because the Pell Grant actually covered all of my educational expenses because I qualified for it. So when I got my first scholarship check, I actually started my first business. Wow. And I'll never forget. I mean, I would always hire like my college friends to work for me. At 19, I had contracts with Procter and Gamble, and just really didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing it, right? So this whole
so I want to stop right there. So if you're listening here, whether you're a student, you're aspiring, don't wait till it's perfect and everything. Okay, if it's in your heart, do it.
Absolutely.
Do it afraid.
And I didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing the darn thing. You couldn't tell me nothing, and I would just.
What did your business card say? Hold on, I like to have some fun when I do this. What did your business card say? Because see, here you got that black and white business card that you went down to J&S Printing on Main Street.
My business was called Harmony Creative Services. Okay. That's because I was doing a whole lot of stuff under one umbrella. So I needed an umbrella label, So what do you do? My tagline should have said, whatever you're writing a check for.
That's in your budget.
Right. What you need. But so I started my own company. So I've had this entrepreneurial bug in me. And I remember, one of the ways that I've, bought a lot of the things that I needed in college was because every Tuesday and Thursday, I would make up 100 red candy apples and I would make an announcement over the dormitory, intercom, candy apples in room 102. In like 30 minutes, I'd be sold out, and it was wild. But I became known as the candy apple lady, right? But my
hey, that went over real well when you pledged Delta, didn't it?
Right, absolutely.
I can only imagine some of the jokes that.
And I think that actually that's why they voted me president, because they kept saying, well, you know how to run things. But so just having that experience in school, when I got my first job out of college with a major corporation, within 6 months, I was teaching outside, like I had a part-time job. Mm-hmm. And from that day forward, I have always either worked for a university or organization where I was an instructor or teacher or trainer, or I was doing it within the structure of my own business. So like right now I teach at Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri, which is an extremely well-known, almost Ivy League of the Midwest type school. And I teach marketing in the Masters of Engineering Management program. Wow. Go figure, right? But I've always been a teacher at heart. And so I've always had either a side gig or side hustle teaching and instructing, because that's part of who I am. But I also took my love for coaching and teaching people and helping them transform, and I turned that into a speaking and coaching business. And so in a week and a half, it will be 16 years when I quit my corporate job and left my comfy corner office and started my company.
See, I need my keyboard right now that I'm getting set up with. I need Funny How Time Flies by, I need to hit that note for you when you're having fun from Janet Jackson there.
Oh my gosh. That is so wild.
Yeah, it's, and that's the thing about it is through that growth, and, I haven't known you the whole 16 years. It may seem like that, even though we really connected a little over a year ago, is when you look back at it, even though there were times you didn't know what you were doing, didn't know how you were going to make it to the next month sometimes. Well, I'm talking about Howard. You may not have had that, but it probably has been some of the most memorable and enjoyable times of your life.
Oh my gosh, Howard. Just so this is where, for those who don't know me, you have to understand that this journey for me has been a series of small yeses. Like people said, Lethia, it must have taken a huge leap of faith to quit your job where you were making $120K a year, and you were a leader at State Farm in their IT department. And I said, no, it didn't take a huge leap of faith. I said, because for years prior, I had been saying yes to these smaller opportunities that were all preparing me for this day, for this moment. And so the fact that I believe that I was created to do this work, that this is the very reason that I was given breath on this planet, and to know that and to connect with that, and to be so grateful for how I've been prepared on my journey by my HBCU, by the jobs that I've had. It is surreal, and it feels like such a blessing, because I didn't get here on my own, and I didn't get here by myself. I have walked through doors that people and ancestors and alum before me opened for me because of their fight and their drive and their commitment to establishing our name, the Albany State University, as a power play in the world with regards to the caliber of students that it produces. So I realized that I walked through doors that I didn't open, and I also realized that I have a responsibility to open doors that others can walk through. On my desk across from me on my bookshelf, I have a little sign that says, "Let your light shine so bright that others can see their way out of the dark." And that's really what we as alum are required, not should, but are required to do for the future generations.
And that is the key thing, because others see things in you that you don't see in yourself. And, but I want to talk about that whole piece of understanding your purpose, because a lot of students in particular, and even young entrepreneurs, struggle with that. Why am I here? What was I destined to do? And how do you keep saying yes to things as you seek that answer? Because it doesn't just happen overnight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You keep saying yes because I mentioned earlier the hope that is within you, right?
Yeah.
You keep saying yes because someone else shows you the way. You keep saying yes because someone else had faith in you and believed in you. Like my boyfriend in high school saw something in me that I didn't see in myself.
You paid for that STD. I'm sorry, that SAT.
But sometimes we have to have enough faith in someone else's faith in us until our own faith catches up.
Oh man, that's so powerful, because I, having talked to you prior to this interview, in this conversation, this is, like I said, it's not an interview, it's a conversation, is you talked about one of your mentors, and that brings up another point of what HBCUs provided, lifelong mentors. I mean, I was in my retail store, and the gentleman that got me into sales as an engineer, he was in the store, Mac Office Showless, and same guy, never changed, trash talker, always giving advice, but he's been a lifelong mentor. Talk about the importance of mentor, because I know that was one of the reasons you really got into training at State, your corporate job. Mentor saw something in you and said, "Hey, you're going down this path."
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I had a village. I had mentors galore. And, I remember when I started interviewing my mentors, a team of them, I had male and female mentors. They got together unbeknownst to me, and they got me my first blue suit. They probably were, I'm sure they were fake pearls, but I had a little pearl necklace and earrings they got for me, taught me the importance of wearing pantyhose.
Oh boy, you talking about auntie? That sounds like that church aunt that tells you, girl.
Yes, like girl, don't you go on that interview without your pen, and then don't go get this color. You get coffee. Your color is coffee.
Make sure that skirt is a certain length now. You got to be down.
That's right. That's right. That's right. But the other thing too, Howard, I just want to say, like, there was a moment when I wanted to quit my pursuit of being a computer scientist, right? And I was in Cal 3, I believe, and Cal 4 and 5 were like a breeze, but I was stuck in Cal 3 and was like, this is too hard. Like, this
What was
is
that teacher name? Because we all had that moment.
Mrs. Campbell.
Okay, mine was Dr. Armstrong, Dr. Prince Armstrong.
I had Mrs. Leggett for Cal, my Cal 3, and Mrs. Campbell, who was even, she was tough. But anyway, so it was getting hard between Mrs. Leggett and Mrs. Campbell.
That's the thing about it.
Between those two women, I was like, I can't do this. This is too hard. So I called myself gonna quit the program, and I ran over to the business school, and I applied to get into the business school, because those classes they were taking, those were easy. I could do that, right? I went over there. Let's see, this is where I talk about a family. I went over there to apply, and it's like your neighbor calling your mama to tell on you. So I'm over there trying to apply, and they're like, no, we can't let you into the program. And I'm like, why? I know, I mean, my grades are good enough. Like, why? No, Ms. Leggett says she wants to see you. I'm like, oh man, like they done called back to the computer science department, told on me. And now I got to meet with Ms. Leggett about why I'm trying to quit the program, right?
So Ms. Leggett was holding your release papers, kind of like one of those, hey, I want to get traded. No, you got to go talk to your GM. So Ms. Leggett was your GM and your auntie.
Yes, it was so crazy. And of course, she didn't let me quit. And she said I was running, and told me to stick it out. And I did. And I ended up getting a B in Cal 3 and an A in Cal 4 and 5. So I'm thankful that they didn't let me, that I had people who were guiding me and didn't let me do what I wanted to do. Because if I were at a university where, I just had a counselor, like a regular guidance counselor, I'd have been in the business department, which wasn't really, I don't think, my calling. Like, in the sense of my undergraduate training, I needed that technical background.
Well, you wouldn't be able to do the things you do in automation now, because you probably wouldn't have stayed in tune with it as much, and you wouldn't be able to teach it as well either, because you wouldn't have gone to corporate in that arena, wind up teaching people how to do that. And
right.
So still could have been successful, but really not living on purpose, as I call it. And that's the key thing as a student, to keep saying yes to it. So as we get ready to wrap up here, I'd like to do a couple rapid things. Is that what is the one word that you live by?
Wisdom. I'm always seeking wisdom. And that's because when I was younger, there was a touch of arrogance in that I thought I knew everything. Yeah. And what I have come to learn is that there's so much I don't know. And it allows me to show up in relationships different, because when I don't think I know everything, what you have to say becomes more valuable, because I could just possibly learn something from you. So wisdom is my word.
Wisdom is your word. If you could have a conversation, sit down conversation, I'd say have coffee with anyone, who would that person be that you've not had it with yet?
That I've not had coffee with yet. There are many people.
Just need one.
There are many
I make that call for you. I just need one.
But I would say Harriet Tubman would be someone I would love. My first thought would be Jesus, but I know everybody probably would say Jesus, so I'm not going to say Jesus, right? Because that's definitely on my list. But I would just say Harriet Tubman. I was so inspired by her story when I learned it, and then when I got a chance to see the movie. Now it may not be I don't know how real it is in regards to what she said, but the speech she gave when she talked about how she will give every ounce of blood in her body until this monster called slavery is dead. I am just so inspired by people who believe so deeply in what they're doing that they would be willing to give their life. And that is a person that I would be honored to sit across the table from and have lunch.
And so now you're at your commencement speech at the Albany State. What are you going to say to those graduating seniors?
In so many words, I would say stay ready so you don't have to get ready. become a master of success. Stay ready for any door that opens, for any opportunity that may come your way. Learn how to always have the pump primed, always be in a position to leap, and always have relationships that will undergird and support you. But at a high level, it would be the message of stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Because when you waste time trying to get ready, someone else has already walked the door and the door of opportunity may have closed.
Wow. Hey, I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm going to have to take that one, even though I've already graduated and I'm not at the Albany State University. I got to take that one and truly be that master of a student of success, that master student of success, and stay ready. Lethia, how can people get in touch with you? Because I want you to let people know how they can best reach you and connect with you, and who do you best serve?
Absolutely. Before I do that, Howard, I do want to just take a moment to
Yes.
just say how honored I am to be interviewed by you, and how inspired I am by your commitment and passion. I talked about Harriet Tubman and how, her life's work and purpose was in, doing the work that she did. And every time I hear you talk about HBCUbiz, and every time I hear you talk about this movement, I am just reinvigorated and inspired and so proud to be able to call you my cuz.
Yeah, some people say Andre and I look like brothers, so we got.
Even though we're not related by blood, but you're my HBCU cuz, right?
Exactly, we are definitely that.
Yes, I'm so honored, and I just want to let you know how proud I am of you, because sometimes this is a thankless job. Sometimes this isn't necessarily where the profits flow and where you get all the accolades, but it's the work that I believe you were called to do. And so I'm so inspired and feel so blessed to be on the journey with you. So if people want to know a little bit more about me, you can follow me on almost any social network by looking up my name, Lethia Owens, L-E-T-H-T as in Tom, H-I-A Owens. And you can visit me on my website, lethiaowens.com. That's how you can find me. And I would love to connect with you online.
Now, Lethia, thanks a lot. And the admiration and the respect is there because you're one of those sounding boards that I get much advice and wisdom from. So that's just, she's one of the people that I study. And so when she talk about studying, I study her because she's had a lot of successes, but more importantly, she helped others and in that arena of branding and in virtual growth in this new world. So definitely connect with Lethia as you move forward and you look to grow. And her information will be below in the feed here, so you can connect with Lethia in 10x. That's right. So you got to go see what that means, but you can 10x both virtually and in real world your business and in your life. So Lethia, as we close out, once again, thanks a lot for the conversation, because like I said, on HBCU Biz on Fire, we like to enjoy a conversation. I don't like to interview people. That's one-sided. Conversations is where great growth happens. And so stay tuned. And if you're following us, make sure you click the button and share. That's right, share. Karen is sharing. Share it with your family. Even if they're not HBCU grads, they will understand and learn from our great guests like Miss Lethia Owens. Take care. God bless.